The crack of the M4 rifle split the pre-dawn silence like a thunderclap, but it wasn't the shot that stopped my heart. It was the way Jasper crumpled to the ground, his eyes locking onto mine in that split-second betrayal of fear. "Ezra, cover me!" he gasped, blood blooming dark on his fatigues. But I was already frozen, the drill sergeant's whistle piercing the chaos like a knife. In that moment, as the Georgia mud sucked at my boots, I realized love in basic training wasn't just forbidden. It was a goddamn death sentence. Fort Benning in the summer of 2010 was a pressure cooker of sweat, screams, and secrets, the kind of place where the Army tried to grind you down until you were either steel or shattered glass. I was Ezra Hayes, 22, fresh out of a nowhere town in Ohio, enlisting because college debt was choking me and Dad's old Vietnam stories made soldiering sound like redemption. Gay in the don't ask, don't tell era? That was my private war, buried deeper than the MREs we choked down at Chow. I kept my head down, my gaze averted, my nights spent staring at the bunk above me, wondering if freedom was worth the lie. That's when Jasper Cole showed up in our platoon, Delta Company, 2nd Battalion, 198th Infantry Brigade. He was from Seattle, all lean muscle and quiet intensity, with eyes like storm clouds and a laugh that cut through the bullshit like sunlight on rain-slick streets. We met during land NAV, stumbling through the pine-thick woods with our rucksacks heavier than our sins, compasses spinning wild in the humidity. "Hayes, you navigating or just lost in thought?" he teased, his voice low enough not to draw the DS's ire. I shot back something dumb about Seattle rain being softer than Georgia bugs, and just like that, we clicked. Brothers in arms, or so I told myself. Nights in the barracks were the worst. We'd whisper about home, his artist mom who'd disowned him for being too soft, my mechanic dad who'd never once said, "I love you," without a beer in hand. Jasper sketched in the margins of his field manual, quick lines capturing the exhaustion in a squadmate's face or the curve of a Georgia oak. I'd watch his hands, calloused from PT but gentle on the pencil, and feel that pull, that dangerous gravity. One evening, after a brutal ruck march that left us all limping ghosts, he passed me a crumpled drawing under the covers. Two silhouettes against a sunset, hands almost touching. "For the guy who keeps me from quitting," it said. My chest tightened like a tripwire. I wanted to tell him everything, how I'd hidden crushes since high school, how the Army's policy felt like a noose. But words failed, so I just nodded, our fingers brushing in the dark. That was our first betrayal to ourselves. The romance bloomed slow, like kudzu choking the trails we ran. Stolen glances during formations, a shared canteen of water that tasted like promise. Late-night confessions when the barracks snores drowned out our truths. "Ezra, what if this place breaks us?" Jasper murmured one night, his breath warm against my ear as we lay inches apart on our bunks. "Then we rebuild," I whispered back, my heart hammering. We never crossed that line, not fully. A hand on a shoulder too long, eyes holding too steady. It was enough to sustain, enough to terrify. In a world of push-ups and cadences, where weakness was the enemy, loving him felt like desertion. But secrets in basic are like live rounds in a magazine, bound to go off. Enter Riley Tate, our platoon's wild card. She was the only woman in our mixed-gender squad. A Spitfire from Austin with a Texas drawl that could charm or castrate, depending on the day. 23, ex-rodeo queen turned recruit. She enlisted to prove something to her daddy, the rancher who'd called her my boy since she could walk. Riley and I bonded early over shared Midwestern roots and a hatred for the cook's powdered eggs. She was tough, unflinching, the kind of friend who'd spot your limp during a 5-mile run and cover without a word. Jasper called her the equalizer, because she balanced our all-male energy with her noble shit vibe. We three became a unit within the unit. Riley ribbing Jasper about his hippie sketches, me playing referee when their banter turned sharp. She knew about us before we admitted it. It was during a rain-soaked night op, hunkered in a foxhole, when Jasper's hand found mine under the poncho. The thunder masked our breathing, but Riley, wedged between us, went still. Later, back at the barracks, she cornered me by the latrines. "Y'all think I don't see? The way he looks at you like you're the only dry spot in this hellhole." Her eyes were fierce, protective. "I'm not ratting, but be smart, Ezra. This ain't Austin." From then on, Riley was our shield. She'd create diversions, fake stomach aches to pull DS attention, or loud stories to cover our whispers. In return, we had her back. Jasper drawing her a portrait of her on horseback, me slipping her extra socks from my laundry rotation. Felt like family, the kind the army promised but rarely delivered. But trust is fragile in fatigues, and ours cracked during week 6, the live-fire range. That's where the hook twisted into the gut. We'd been drilling urban assault, breaching mock buildings with simunition rounds that stung like hornets. Jasper and I were paired for a two-man stack, hearts sinking as we cleared corners. Him on point, me covering 6. The adrenaline was electric, our movements poetry in chaos. But in the final room, as we secured the objective, his glove brushed my wrist, a fleeting anchor. That's when it happened, a real round, not sim. A misfire from the adjacent lane, ricocheting off concrete. Jasper went down hard, clutching his side, crimson seeping through his sleeve. The range went dead silent, then erupted, screaming, medics scrambling, the acrid bite of gunpowder hanging like accusation. I dropped beside him, hands pressing the wound, panic clawing my throat. Stay with me, Jazz. God, please. His face was ashen, but he managed a ghost of a smile. Worth it. For you. Medevac sirens wailed in the distance. But before they loaded him, the questions started. Des Ramirez, a stone-faced vet with eyes like flint, zeroed in. Hayes, what the hell happened? You two screwing around in there? The platoon buzzed, whispers of negligence, of favoritism. Someone had seen the touch, the hesitation. Rumors flew like shrapnel. They were too close, too soft. And in that toxic brew, don't ask loomed, ready to expose us. That's when Riley stepped up. She'd been on Overwatch, rifle-trained on our sector. As the investigators circled, MPs with clipboards, brass demanding statements, she could have played it safe. Denied seeing anything, let the blame scatter. But Riley Tate, with her boots planted wide and jaw set like rebar, locked eyes with Ramirez and lied through her teeth. It was me, Sergeant. I called M off point. Yelled for a breather 'cause my boot was untied. Stupid rookie shit. Hayes and Cole were covering me when the round skipped. The MPs blinked. The platoon gaped. Jasper, stretchered nearby, shook his head weakly. No, Riley, don't. But she barreled on. My fault. I froze him. It was a choice no one saw coming. A grenade lobbed into the heart of the inquiry. Why her? Riley, who'd clawed her way through a male-dominated world, risking her commission on a whim? Later, in the med shack waiting area, as Doc stitched Jasper, flesh wound? Thank Christ, but infection risk high. She slumped against the cinderblock wall, drawl gone flat. Couldn't let 'em drag you two down. Seen enough good men chewed up for less. Jasper, doped on morphine, reached for her hand. Riley, you didn't have to. She cut him off, voice cracking. Yeah, I did. Y'all are real. This. She waved at the sterile room, the beeping monitors. This is pretend. The betrayal came not from her, but from within. Platoon mate Tommy Ruiz, the hothead from Jersey who'd always eyed Jasper funny, sold us out to the brass. Whispered to a staff sergeant about funny business in the barracks, citing the sketches, the late talks. Investigation widened, interrogations, bed checks, the whole Orwellian nightmare. Don't ask wasn't repealed yet. Outing meant discharge, disgrace. Jasper, sidelined in recovery, penned me a note smuggled via Riley. If it comes to it, I'll take the hit. You deserve out clean. My response, scrawled on a napkin. We fight together or not at all. But the fear gnawed, losing him to courts-martial, to a life labeled undesirable. Climax hit on Family Day, Week 9, when the MPs hauled Riley, Indiana. She doubled down on her lie, but forensics pinged the timeline wrong. A boot print that wasn't hers. Cornered, she confessed the cover, naming no names but implying squad loyalty. Brass twisted it. Fraternization, false statements. You're done, Tate, the colonel barked, his office reeking of stale coffee and authority. Dishonorable. Go back to roping cows. She stood tall, chin up, but I saw the fracture. Dreams of officer school, of proving her worth, crumbling like dry earth. Jasper and I confronted her that night, under the cover of a contraband six-pack in the woods behind the PX. Moonlight filtered through the pines, turning her face silver. Why, Damn it, Jasper demanded, voice raw from painkillers. Riley stared into the fire we'd kindled, flames dancing like ghosts. Because I get it. Back home, Daddy wanted a son. Army was my shot to be enough. But watching you two, hiding something pure in this meat grinder, it broke me open. Tears tracked her cheeks, unashamed. Love like yours ain't the problem. Hatin' it is. That was the gut punch. Her choice wasn't just sacrifice. It was mirror. Riley, who'd buried her own truths. Rumors of a girlfriend back in Austin. A coming-out letter she'd burned. Chose us over her facade. We hugged her then. 3 broken recruits in the American wilderness. Whispering promises we couldn't keep. We'll write, I said. Fight for repeal. Jasper sketched her one last time. A rider on the horizon, unbound. She shipped out at dawn. Processed out, gear in a duffel, no ceremony. We watched from formation, hearts leaden as her truck kicked gravel down Range Road. Jasper's wound healed crooked, a scar like lightning across his ribs. But we made it through graduation. Pinned our blue cords, marched across the grinder to sweet Georgia Brown. The crowd cheering like we'd conquered worlds. But victory tasted bittersweet. Don't Ask died 2 years later, but Riley's choice echoed. A reminder that humanity isn't forged in fire, but in the quiet acts that defy it. Years on, Jasper and I built a life in Seattle, his sketches turning into gallery shows, my security clearance landing a desk job at the VA. We married in 2015, under rainy skies, hands clasped like that first foxhole night. Riley, she went home, started a ranch for queer vets, Tate's Trail, she calls it. Last summer we visited. Her laughing in chaps, showing Jasper how to lasso, me grilling burgers while she teased. Still too soft, haze. Her choice? It didn't break her. Freed us all. In the end, military training didn't make soldiers of us, it made us human. And that's the choice no one predicts. To love anyway, to stand anyway, even when the world aims to fire.